Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Longevity with Mikey Guy. My name is Larmin Kini and I am your host. In this show, we talk to the scientists, researchers, and founders making longevity a reality. Please like, follow, and subscribe to support our work. And you can read our weekly newsletter and find new products in longevity at mikeyguy.com. Enjoy! Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be here with Mobile because we're going to be discussing one of my favorite subjects, which is dog longevity. I have with me a friend in the industry and a great founder and the CEO of Ageless Rx, which some of you might know. Anar Isman, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Hey, thanks, Laura. Hi, everyone. My name is Anar, and I started and I run a telehealth company focused on longevity called Ageless Rx. And the mission behind Ageless Rx was to make people live longer and accelerate the progress of longevity, making longevity happen sooner. And through that, I've come to understand that everything we talk about when it comes to longevity for humans also actually really applies to dogs. And we can talk more about that.
So, Anar, the reason we're talking today is because of the Dog Longevity DAO, which is something that an initiative that you started a couple of months back and is just starting to take off now. We managed to get into the Gitcoin round of funding. So I want you to tell me more about how that came to be.
Yeah. So longevity is something that I think is very, very important. It kills 100,000 people per day. It's a cause of many different chronic conditions. So if we can delay it, I think that would be very, very beneficial. However, when I talk to people about longevity, most people actually say, living longer, I'm not sure about it. When I say, would you like your dog to live longer? Everyone says, yes, sign me up, right? And I have a dog, I love them. I think their lives are too short. We should make them live longer. And at this point, this is something that we can actually do if we had more resources, because there's compound interventions out there that are already being tried on dogs, and there's more that could be tried on dogs. And also in dogs, it's much easier to show that something is working, because if you have a 6-7-year-old dog, it only takes 3 to 5 years to say, oh, is the dog living longer or not? Versus in humans, it would take 20, 30 years. So the idea is that if we can do it in dogs, we can show in dogs, it's important. And then I also saw that there were several DAOs out there. For example, Constitution DAO raised 40 million from people who were interested in buying a copy of the United States Constitution. There is a Julian Assange DAO, which raised, I think, 40 or 50 million from people interested in civil liberties who want to help pay for Julian Assange's legal fees. So if people are willing to pay for things they care about, why wouldn't people want to pay for making dogs live longer? Because people care about their dogs living longer. So we thought we'd start this DAO to build a community of people who are dog owners, researchers, vets, people who genuinely care about dogs live longer, and use that DAO to fund projects that would accelerate the efforts of making dogs live longer.
Well, I'm sure everybody knows what a DAO is by now, but just to clarify, when we're referring to a DAO, it's a decentralized autonomous organization. And just to make sure that people understand also, when Anar mentioned the Constitution DAO, people coming together to raise funds, it basically means that everybody can come in and participate on this decentralized autonomous organization for a cause. And the cause here is to figure out more, to fund more research for man's best friends to live longer. Much like you, I'm very much into longevity. My thing has always been about how do we keep healthier longer. And one thing that I wanted to mention is that dogs, not only do they live shorter lives than humans, that everybody knows, is that nowadays, because of the toxicity in the environment, they're getting more cancers than before. And this is a problem. We need to figure out more research. We need to study more of what's happening, because like us, even though we are living longer, we are actually living longer with disease. And this is a problem in quality of life, not only for humans, but obviously for pets. So you know more about this because you have a lot of other projects ongoing. And can you tell us about what made you think that dog research needed more funding? There's some amazing, well-known companies in this space that have quite a lot of funding, but it seems to me that there's still a bottleneck, correct?
Yes, yes, absolutely, right. So most of the funding goes towards treating a disease. So like you mentioned, there's more cancer in dogs. There's a lot of research going into how can we treat cancer. And because that's where most of the compensation is, whether it's dog insurance, or that's when you go to the doctor when something's wrong with your dog and you want to treat them. And there's very little research, very little funding and resources going into actually how do we, instead of treating cancer, how do we delay the onset of age-related damage in dogs that makes them older and actually makes them get cancer in the first place. And that's where there's very, very little research that's going into, very little resources, but there's a lot of research, and we can already make mice, for example, live 30% longer. We've done it in many other model organisms, right? Whether it's flies or worms, and it's actually biologically very, very achievable to do it in dogs. It's just a matter of putting resources in there. And that's where I think it's DAOs can benefit the most, is from helping us do it and not having to rely on pharmaceutical company or some kind of corporation to decide, hey, what's the best way to allocate money to get the best return on that investment. It's more like, hey, the return we're interested in is not monetarily, the return we're interested in is our dogs living longer. That's the return we want. And so let's focus on projects that are going to give us the biggest return for that. So pretty much DAO would function almost like a club. Imagine you become a member of a club where people share your interest in a specific cause, and then as a club you can get to decide how to use this money to achieve the biggest bang for the buck.
Yeah, and just for context, I guess Dog Longevity DAO falls within the decentralized science movement, which is DeSci. You see that on Twitter, #DeSci. And one of the biggest inspirations, and I know why the team is so excited about this, is because I know there's a reference to Vita DAO, which I guess for a lot of us in the industry is a big reference point in terms of being able to fund longevity research. And the organization is also relatively new. So we've seen that they've been able to do a lot within a short period of time. And that's the most exciting part about DAOs, is that if you get people interested in this particular mission, a lot can happen really fast. So with that said, I know we're discussing where everything goes, but when you thought of this idea and you saw even what happened with Vita DAO, let's say the Dog Longevity DAO, what's the outcomes in 6 months to a year forward? I mean, is it like, how many projects do we want to fund? And is there something in particular that it's the main goal?
Yeah. I mean, there are several projects we'd love to fund. In particular, there are some projects that we think could function as, there's some areas that are bottleneck to the progress. And if we can fund some projects that unlock that bottleneck, then the progress will happen a lot faster. And so we've been working with Matt Caberlin, who is running dog aging project at University of Washington, where they're giving dogs rapamycin. So he's very, very knowledgeable in this area, and he's helping us identify what are some of those bottlenecks that, if they were to be solved, that would really, really accelerate the whole movement forward and kind of result in progress faster. And there's a sense of urgency here, right? Because kind of, the sooner we do this, the more likely our dogs to live longer and benefit from it.
How old is your dog?
He's 7, but they don't. It's a Bernese Mountain Dog, so it's a big, kind of like a Saint Bernard, and the average life expectancy is very short for that breed. So I want to get this done very soon.
What's his name again?
Bernie.
Oh, I've seen photos. He's very cute. Well, for me, Mobile is also 7. They do tend to live a little longer, miniature dachshunds, but every breed of dog has different health problems. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the reasons that startups in the space address like one very particular thing. Now, I know that you know a lot about the different models in which you're running also a rapamycin trial, Pearl trial. So you know a lot of how the trials are run. I would love if you explain to people why scientists and enthusiasts in the longevity field are very interested in running all these research in dogs. I mean, it seems logical, but I would love you to just go over it again.
Yeah, I mean, first, of course, we want to make dogs live longer. So just as a ultimate goal, that's great. And then second, they present a really good model organism for these kind of trials because dogs share our environment. Mice in the lab, they don't share our environment. Dogs share our environment. They breathe our air. They a lot of times eat our food or similar food to what we eat. They also a lot of times mimic our exercise patterns. Right, you go for a walk and that's your activity for the day. Also, it's much easier to show that something is working in dogs versus in humans, right? Because if I were to give you something, Laura, it will take me 40 years to know whether it's working or not, whether in dogs.
Lifespan.
Exactly.
You can't, it's very difficult to run a lifelong trial.
Exactly, yeah. Versus in dogs, you can. And then also, in humans right now, right, aging is not considered a disease because by FDA, because we don't have a marker for aging, right? Like for weight, we have a marker. Or for obesity, it's your weight. For heart disease, we have a marker. It's the bad cholesterol or LDL, or there are different ones. For aging, there's no one definitive marker yet. And so by observing dogs and studying dogs, we can actually figure out that one marker, because we can figure out, oh, look, every dog that's older has this particular thing. And when we happen to make dogs live longer, this particular thing actually went down or became better. And therefore, we might be able to conclude what is that one particular marker that would then allow us to do studies much faster. So instead of observing someone for 4 years, we can just see, oh, what is this intervention doing to that particular marker? Because that would be a proxy for longevity. Another reason, right, besides making dogs live longer, which is in itself is a great goal, additional bonus is, I think, dog longevity holds the key to unlocking human longevity. Because the number one thing for human longevity, I think, is resources. We need more resources to make progress happen faster. And that's limited because most people don't think that's an important cause. People find global warming as important, homelessness, you name it, all those are very important things, but making people live longer is on the bottom of the list, or not as high. And so if people can see their dogs live much longer, I think they're all of a sudden going to realize, oh, that's doable. Aging is not something that is inevitable or good or natural. So why don't we make my mom live longer or my grandparents, and then be more open-minded to that cause, I think.
Well, everything is storytelling and how you tell the story, correct? Yeah. So I think one of the biggest chasms we have to cross is people understanding that it's about the possibility of living longer with health. And for me, the big draw, as I say with my dog, I'm willing to do anything for my dog that I'm not even willing sometimes to do for myself. And I think that, all of us agree that people that are not nearly interested in being fit or practicing longevity or being healthy, if they see that you can actually reverse some of the damage or prevent it, then it would make a huge switch in people's mind to think, oh, wow, this is a possibility. I want it also for myself. So I'm very excited about what we're going to start doing. Obviously, there's going to be a series where we're going to interview a lot of founders, and hopefully Matt Kibber. I know for sure that we're going to have Matt because he is one of the most important researchers in the field that is looking at dogs. Is Bernie a part of the dog aging project?
Bernie is. He's not there's several arms. So he's not an intervention arm, but he's another arm. Yeah.
He already, I couldn't register mobile because we're in Canada. So hopefully some of this funding that they're getting will allow for international dogs. You would think that being an hour away from the border, you would still be able to get your dog. I encourage people to go check out the Dog Aging Project. If you have a dog, if you're interested in the longevity of your dog, it's a great opportunity to have amazing scientists look at the lifespan and health of your dog. So I would encourage that from people. And then on our end, we're looking for more people to join our community to help us grow it, because it takes a lot of work when everybody is a founder, has their own other projects. We have an amazing team. Do you want to speak a little bit more about that and what kind of things we're looking to get some help with, or to join our community to grow this? We're accepting anyone and everyone who loves dogs, longevity, Web3, or is just curious, right?
Exactly. That's the kind of the D in the DAO is decentralized. There's no one who's really running it. We have a core group of people who have volunteered the efforts, but we welcome anyone else to contribute as much or as little as you'd like. We'd love for someone to come in and help, and volunteer more, because we could always use, more help and more structure to move it forward. But just join, and there also at some point, right, there are going to be some benefits and utilities to joining besides being a member of the club or of the group. We're working on adding utilities, whether it's discount on specific dog food or maybe on dog insurance or veterinary visits. So hopefully,
and we already have the NFTs.
Oh yeah, and there'll be NFTs as well. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of work to do. So anybody that's interested in dogs, Web3, longevity, this is an amazing project because it combines a lot of the exciting things that are happening out there. And again, I think the dog pet thing, it's such an interesting way to approach longevity in terms of getting way more people interested. For our end, as founders that have dogs, we definitely have an invested interest in that.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, just the DAO is going to be as strong as the community that we're able to build. So please join and be as active as you'd like to be.
Yes, you can find us on Twitter at Dog Longevity DAO, or the website is doglongevity.xyz, right? We have a Discord channel. You can join it very easily. And we're going to be putting out a lot of content in the next couple of months in terms of interviews with amazing founders working in the longevity dog space, and trying to do more community events in which we can actually get people more interested and excited in joining this great cause. I don't know if we're going to get the 40 million that the Constitution DAO got, but anything that helps us fund dog research is a little, every little part plays a role in terms of getting things further.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I guess one thing I'd say is, if I had a conversation with just like a hypothetical conversation, and I'd say, hey, would you like a dog to live longer? And you say, yes, of course. Well, this is your opportunity to help that happen. Join us, and hopefully we can, make that happen, or help make it happen sooner than it would have happened otherwise.
Yes, well, it is going to happen one way or the other, for sure.
It's going to make it happen sooner.
And hopefully we're going to be part of that.
Exactly.
Okay, Anar, thank you. See you in the World Wide Web. And hopefully we're going to be having this conversation with some other great founders in the near future.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.